My name's Justin, and this is The Art of Repair. And today we're going to look at the supposed final form of the iPhone 7 home button that everybody's talking about, the new YF home button. This one, it's not like the JC. We all got tricked. There was problems from the start. The YF promises no Bluetooth and capacitive touch. Does it live up to the hype?
Sorry.
Okay, so as you can probably tell by my intro and possibly the title of my video, I don't really know what I'm going to title it yet. This is not going to be a recommendation. This is not me saying we finally have it. We have the replacement iPhone 7 and 8 home button that's going to give you the back return, and it's all good now, and we're done with all the crappy iterations. I think really what we have right now is a proof of concept, not a finished product. Maybe even a prototype. But I wouldn't say it's a finished product. Now, why do I say that? We just really need to go through the list. Okay, let's just start at installation and let's kind of take it from there. I do have some footage. I actually shot this video already. I shot the whole video already. In fact, I shot it twice. The first day I shot it after using it for about an hour, and that video was, it was bad. You know, I felt real bad afterwards. I thought I had a defective button, and if you can hear tape being pulled in the background, I do apologize. I am in China, and you know, that's people wrapping up boxes and stuff, so you got to do what you got to do. But I can't really escape that sound here sometimes. It's just kind of part of the deal here. But anyway, I digress. Back to the video. I already made this video twice. I made it once. It was terrible. I thought I had a defective unit, so I went back to my buddy who hooked me up with the first one, and you know, we sat down, and it was just still more issues. You know, it didn't feel like it was as bad after we had sat down and did some testing, and I felt a little more confidence that maybe there was just a percentage of defective units. But that didn't seem to be the case after I, you know, got back and started going through more units, and then the company that I'm doing engineering work for, you know, we started looking at some of those. It just, across the board, it looks like it's a pretty bad product. Maybe it's just a lot of, you know, bad manufacturing, a lot of people rushing to get the product out. I know there's a lot of competition in China right now to get this product out and to make it, you know, be the first. You know, it's a gold rush out here on this. You know, people can't even wait. They start to advertise it as soon as they have the idea, instead of waiting until they actually have like a good finished product, because they want to make the money so fast, and they're so worried that somebody else is going to figure it out, or that somebody in their office is going to sell the solution to somebody else. It's crazy. But let's just go ahead and, you know, go over some of the issues now. I do have some footage from my first video that will, you know, I'll kind of try and segue in here as best I can. I do not have all of these issues on video because there was a lot of me just sitting at the desk installing over and over and over into different phones and just trying to make it work and trying to convince myself it was a good product because I wanted it to be so bad. Anyway, first and foremost, installation in the product itself. There's actually two different versions of this product out there right now. One of them seems like it's the right size flex cable in terms of like size compared to the original home button, and then there's another version that's actually maybe 1 to 2 millimeters longer, and I think that one's probably got a lot more issues than the shorter one, because as you put it in there and get everything clicked in, it kind of bunches up the cable, and I know that definitely causes issues. I mean, we all know that, you know, flexing a flex cable that's not supposed to be flexed in a certain way is, you know, going to cause issues. But I'll pop a little picture of that here, and you guys can see what that looks like. Once I got it in, I immediately noticed that my device took quite a bit longer to turn on than necessary. It was reminiscent of an audio IC kind of long boot situation where you're sitting there and you're like, does my phone have audio IC? Like, what's going on here? Like, I was kind of questioning myself. But, that right there, that was one of those things that I asked about immediately, and I was told, yeah, hey, the button does cause the phone to boot up a little bit longer. But that tells me right there that something funky is going on in the circuitry, something weird, and that's going to kind of lead into some of these other issues that I was experiencing. One of the first things I noticed was that the buttons were overly sensitive. I'm talking about like I said, I'm going to kind of segue some of the video in here from my first video where it was kind of failing as I made the video. But, all I had to do was set it on the table and Siri would go off. I mean, I just had to have the phone in my hand and Siri was going off. So I'm going to tell you right now, I know just being in your pocket, you're going to be having, Siri's going to be going off, your home button's going to be clicking, things aren't going to be the way they should be. And, if you stick around to the end of the video, I do think that I understand why this is the way that it is. And I'll try and explain that here in a little bit. I just want to go over some of the issues I saw first. They did tell me that, not they, this is more or less just me sitting down with some friends here in another office and them talking to the company, and that you really shouldn't over tighten the screws on the actual home button bracket. But I feel like I put the screws back in about the way that they came back out. There's not really a lot of over tightening. If you watch one of the videos I made when I first started this channel, I made a video about proper micro screwdriver technique and how to put the screws in, and I've pretty religiously followed that, considering I feel like that's one of my better fundamentals episodes, and I've always kind of followed that directive in terms of like screwdriver use. So I don't really feel like that was an issue. They were also saying that you shouldn't remove the capped on tape off the back. Well, I definitely didn't remove the capped on tape off the back. So, somebody's going to tell you that that's the issue, but I don't think that's what it is. During testing, let me backtrack a little bit. I was using my iPhone 7 during the original video, and I thought, maybe it's my iPhone. And this is my personal iPhone from when I'm in America. I have an iPhone 6S that I use here, and I have a 7 that I use in America. And I thought maybe it's the phone. So I went and got my 7 Plus out of my bag, and I tested it on that. We plugged it in, still getting oversensitivity issues. When we plugged it into a charger, the actual touchscreen just went inoperable. And, we just assumed that it's got issues with aftermarket screens, and you'll have to excuse me, I've got allergies and I'm just kind of itchy a little bit, so but anyway, we just assumed that it had issues with aftermarket screens, and that in itself is a big problem, because most of the time when the home button gets broken, it's broken during a screen replacement, and I'd say 9 out of 10 screen replacements are aftermarket screens. Even if it's a super nice in-cell screen, it's aftermarket. My original iPhone 7, it's got an in-cell screen. The 7 Plus I got sitting here, that's just a regular aftermarket, super high copy screen. And they both were having issues, but we plug it into the charger, and touchscreen stops working a little bit. We restart the phone, touchscreen comes back. It gets to the point after testing a couple of them that the touchscreen is just kaput. And I'm like, well, I guess that's that, and I guess the screen I just assumed the screen was having issues. And the thing is, though, I use this phone a lot. I use it to like take videos and stuff a lot. I don't use it as a phone or anything, but it's had that screen on there for a long time. For it to just magically start having issues with the touchscreen was kind of weird for me. But later that day, after letting it sit for a while and being off, I turn it back on, and lo and behold, the touchscreen just works fine. So the only common denominator there is that the home button was causing issues with it once it was plugged into the charger. It was an aftermarket charger. It was not an original charger. But again, we've got to look at this from the client end. And I'm not talking about like there's so many different levels of client, you know, from the factory to the wholesaler to the repair shop to the actual client, you know, looking at it from the client, and they're not going to understand that. You can't tell them, oh, hey, I messed up your home button and now you can only have official original stuff where it may or may not work properly. They're going to use what they're going to use, and if not, they're going to get real mad at you. Okay, so that right there was kind of that was annoying to say the least. This is when things got really interesting, though. You know, I really haven't torn the devices apart or anything yet to really see what's going on here, but I tested maybe like 4 or 5 of these buttons on my iPhone 7G, and you know, you guys know I'm following proper procedure here. I'm disconnecting the battery. You know, I'm being real careful. I'm changing out the home button. This isn't like a crazy repair. You know, when you do motherboard repair all the time, regular level 2 repair really isn't that big of a deal, and you kind of just do it. But my iPhone 7 stopped turning on, and this is a good phone. You know, this was my phone. You know, I don't carry around crap phones. I make them work, and it was having some serious issues booting up. And I mean, I'm talking about even just getting power, anything. Like I said, I haven't really torn it down yet or anything. This was kind of one of those, you know, just infuriating moments over the last 3 days of me sitting here testing this home button. And, you know, I thought, you know, let's give it to a fluke again. You know, I always want to give the benefit of the doubt. I always want to say, hey, maybe it's something else. We need to look at this from, you know, different angles and stuff. But then something else happened that really just blew my mind, and I was like, for real? Are you kidding me right now? As I have my 7 Plus, you know, I think I found a good one. You know, I'm just sitting here messing with it, and you know, I've actually got the button on here right now, and you know, it does work, but with one caveat: when you do the home button on the 7, you get taptic feedback from, you know, the taptic engine, right? And I click it, vibration. Click it, vibration. I click it. Vibration is gone. I'm talking about from the whole system. It doesn't work anymore whatsoever. So my iPhone 7 hardly boots up. Obviously, it's booted up now. It did its thing, but it's having real trouble with that. Like, I'm going to tell you right now, I guarantee you if I turn this phone off, it's going to have a lot of trouble turning back on. In fact, let's just pull the battery and let's see if it turns back on real quick while we're talking, because I bet it won't. All these small, really annoying things. So battery's pulled. We're just going to give it a minute to sit there and chill for a minute. We're going to see if it turns back on in a second. I don't think it will. I'd be happy if it did. I mean, the issues on this one, you know, haven't really resolved themselves yet either, but I haven't really taken the device apart yet, so there's that. So I've got 2 instances where both of my personal phones that I used that did not have any issues whatsoever have developed issues after the installation of one of these things, okay? I'm trying to think if there's any other small weird issues that I had. I mean, it's definitely been infuriating. Freaking infuriating, because yeah, why not, right? Now there's what I'm about to tell you now is not so much of a defect, but I think is more of a design issue, and I'm sure that this can be worked around in the next version. But when you click the button, you get the taptic feedback, and it feels like you're stuck in the mud. Like when you press the button, it just doesn't feel right. It doesn't feel like an iPhone. It doesn't feel like an Apple product. You know what I mean? Like, you click down and it's almost like a lag. You're just stuck in the mud, can't get out. Like you're walking through, what is it? You're walking on flypaper kind of thing. But I figured it out. And this kind of goes with the whole oversensitive thing. I know why it's doing this. So if you take a regular iPhone 7, it's got the 3D touch in the home button. 3D touch, force touch, whatever you want to call it, I don't know. But, you know, it's got that built into the home button. and it won't really activate until you actually press down, which is the whole like cool thing about the button on the iPhone 7 series. It's a real button, but it's not a real button. You know what I mean? And with this one, it doesn't do that. It doesn't do that. Even the slightest like tap, like here, let's see if we can. So if we're sitting here and I just barely go across it, it comes right on. But a real iPhone 7 home button, you gotta press down for it to actually activate. And I think that's what causes a lot of the oversensitivity, because it's not actually got that pressure mechanism to it, so it's not gonna. It just doesn't feel right. And again, like I said, there's different levels to this whole retail game, and if you hand this to a customer, the fact that it doesn't really like sync up, like you can't really do a double click. You almost have to retrain yourself on how to use the button itself. And you can't really click it as fast as you would a real legit one. And like I said, this isn't, I don't consider this a defect, but some would. But I would say that it's a major drawback to the current design. But I feel like I've talked about this thing for just way too long at this point. I mean, this video looks like it's closing in on like 17 minutes now. Those are the issues that I saw. I'm going to try and like chop in some footage of it kind of messing up on me during the first video. Like I said, I didn't really get every single thing on film, but these are things that I experienced, and it's enough to say you need to hold on, you need to wait, don't buy these. I know that Jesse Cruz made a comment on Facebook asking, basically if it's going to help during data recovery when you need to click the home button. Yeah, I feel like it's going to work, because you don't actually need to do any weird mumbo jumbo. You really don't need Bluetooth. It really doesn't do all that. No jumpers. It really kind of is what it says it is, but it's super not at the same time. So if all you need is to do the home button click, buy one. Just buy one. You know what I mean? Just buy one. Don't be buying all kinds of crazy stuff trying to give this to customers right now. But if you need it for data recovery, I'm sure it's going to work just fine. Anyway, that's my super sad takeaway on this one. We all thought it was going to be the one, but unfortunately there can be only one Highlander, and this one is not the Highlander. Oh, and as I'm editing the video here, I remember another thing that happened. I do have this on video, so this is going to be at the end of the video with all the other weird things I saw. But it caused a vibration loop in the actual phone itself. I undid all the screws on the Taptic engine so you could actually hear it. But yeah, so here you go. You can check that out now too. So I took the screws out so you could hear it. I mean...
Okay, just...
I mean, that's it right there. I mean...
I don't know what that means.
I don't know what it...
I can search the web for...
I don't even know what it means either.
Right there.
So we all know that, like, when you click the home button, it's supposed to just give a real quick, vibration, and it's supposed to just activate, and that's it, right? But this one seems to constantly activate Siri, and when you press down, it's almost like as long as you're pressing down, it's activated. And it's not in the normal way where you're doing it on the real home button and you click down and you get Siri. This one just seems like it's stuck in the mud, okay? And I mean, look at it. It's just nonstop. It just, I'm not even doing anything here.
I'm not sure I understand.
I know you don't understand, Siri. It's killing me too. But we forgot to check the iPhone 7. Let's plug the battery in and see if it actually turns on. And, I'm sure that I can go in here and fix whatever issue it is. But, it turned on. Woo! That's good news. I was having a lot of issues yesterday, and it was starting to kind of I felt like I was going to have to take the motherboard out, and that's a real sad shame considering all I was doing was testing home buttons. So hopefully that works out long term and it actually works now, but I just wanted to check on that and put it in here so we all knew if it worked or not. Actually, let's just see how long it takes to boot up. Let's just see what happens here. We've been going for a little bit. Let's see if this is actually one of the home buttons right here, and it was having, this is actually I think the one that was having all the issues. So I'm not sure how long this is going to take to boot up. We're at about a minute now. Like I said, this thing kind of gave me audio IC like boot times, so it was really concerning when I first put it in. But let's get a legitimate like boot time here so we can see what's going on. Maybe 10 seconds in, I turned it on. We're at a minute 30 right now. Minute 40. Let's just see what happens. Let's wait. If you've already bought these things, I don't know. There's a lot of people that bought them. All right, so we're looking right about 2 minutes for boot, and that definitely is quite a bit longer than normal. But we are back on again. So I just put my original home button back in here. I just want to see if it turns on. Look at that. Still having issues booting up. I feel like taping boxes is like one of the sounds of China. You gotta just be part of it, Whatever. I guess I'm taking the motherboard out. So I hope you learned something today. I hope you took something away from this. I hope this helped you out in some way with your purchasing decisions. Don't forget to like, don't forget to subscribe, hit that notification bell, and I'll catch you next time. Don't forget, guys, if you're interested in any of the tools I use, check out the description below. I even have my own custom tools that I sell down there as well that literally do not exist anywhere else on the planet except from The Art of Repair. I also have a Patreon where you can help support the channel so I can create even better, high-quality content.